What's the bigger flex? Digging for treasure and actually finding it, or stumbling onto something wild without even trying? Well, both hit very differently, but let's be honest. Accidental finds bring that extra no way kind of hype. Every ancient artifact in this video wasn't just unexpected, it straight up blindsided the people who uncovered it. These weren't planned digs or book hunts, they were pure, chaotic historical surprises. Here are the 15 most unexpected ancient artifacts finds. Number 15. 169 gold rings. Most archaeologists would be over the moon to find one gold ring in a grave. Now picture uncovering 169 of them, all in a single burial site in Bihor County. That's what happened during road construction work in August 2022, when workers stumbled upon several graves spanning from the Neolithic era to Roman times. But it was the Bronze Age grave of a woman believed to belong to the Tizapolgar culture from around 4500 BCE that stole the spotlight. The sheer number of rings likely used to pin back her hair suggested serious social standing. She wasn't buried alone in luxury either. Copper bracelets, golden beads, and over 800 bone ornaments were laid to rest with her. Everything about the burial screamed elite status. Some experts think she might have been royalty or a spiritual leader. Either way, the discovery paints a vivid picture of ancient wealth, identity, and how much value people placed on their final goodbyes. Number 14. Ancient game pieces. In August 2022, archaeologists working in Maresha Bet Guvrin National Park, Israel, uncovered a set of ancient game pieces made from goat and sheep bones. Well, that's creepy. The site was already known for its rich archaeological layers, but these oddly shaped tokens added a new twist. They're believed to be from a game called astragaloi, once popular among Greeks and Romans. Dating back over 2,300 years, some of these carved bones feature short inscriptions and symbols of Greek gods like Hermes and Aphrodite, hints at a game that mixed luck, prophecy, and maybe even gambling. Nobody really knows the full rules, but based on words etched into the pieces like "stop and you are burnt," it probably wasn't just a friendly pastime, it was more like a spiritual gamble, somewhere between a board game and a fortune-telling ritual. Whatever the exact mechanics were, finding these pieces offers a direct link to how people in the ancient world passed time, and maybe how they looked for answers too. Number 13. Jehoash inscription. The Jehoash inscription is a stone tablet that has sparked more arguments than answers. Said to detail repairs made to the Jewish temple by King Jehoash of Judah, who ruled briefly around 841 BCE, its contents align eerily well with verses from the Hebrew Bible. But from the start, the tablet's origins have been messy. Some say it came from a construction site. Others claim it was pulled from a Muslim cemetery near the Temple Mount. The inscription itself reads clean. The patina seems ancient, and everything checks out on the surface. Yet the artifact is tangled up with Oded Golan, a name tied to previous forgeries. That alone has made scholars cautious. Israel's Antiquities Authority insists it's a fake, even as no conclusive evidence has ever proved it. The truth? Still floating in academic limbo. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. Either way, the Jehoash inscription has become an artifact of controversy, where belief and science still wrestle for the final word. Number 12. Medieval brooch. In March 2021, a metal detectorist scanning farmland in Pewsey Vale, England, came across something tiny but loaded with history. A medieval brooch crafted from gold, etched with a Latin inscription circling its edge. It reads, "Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with you." The familiar prayer carved onto a piece barely larger than a coin. Historians estimate it was made in the 12th or 13th century, not just as jewelry, but as a protective charm. Alongside the prayer, 5 Hebrew letters are inscribed, believed to act as a mystical safeguard, a common belief during an era when illness was often blamed on curses and evil spirits. The combination of Christian devotion and magical superstition speaks volumes about life in medieval England, where religion and folk belief blurred together. The craftsmanship alone is mind-blowing, considering the size. Someone went to great lengths to keep this charm close, hoping it might protect them from forces beyond their control, both earthly and otherwise. Number 11. Bronze Age Axe. When Paul Rowlands took his metal detector out for a casual sweep across a field near Llanfairpwll in Anglesey back in 2020, he wasn't expecting to rewrite Welsh Bronze Age history, but that's exactly what happened. What surfaced from the soil was a copper alloy axe head, sharp enough to raise eyebrows even after 3,500 years underground. This wasn't your average relic either. Its flat-flanged design links it to the Aton metalworking style that flourished between 1800 and 1500 BCE. Tools like this are absurdly rare in Wales, and experts believe it was crafted to fit snugly into a wooden handle, likely bound in place with leather strips or cord. That handle's long gone, of course, but the blade remains untouched by time. Whether this axe was used for chopping trees, tilling soil, or swinging in battle, no one really knows. What's certain is that it's a near-pristine time capsule from a world that's mostly faded into the dirt of Earth. Number 10. Roman Statues. The Blue Grotto is more than just a postcard-perfect sea cave. It's also home to something much older and stranger. Back in 2009, divers verified what many historians already suspected: ancient Roman statues were lying deep below the crystal waters. These weren't random bits of marble either. They were carefully placed figures, likely of sea gods, put there during the reign of Emperor Tiberius. Known for his love of the island, Tiberius turned the Blue Grotto into a private escape, a kind of imperial swimming hole with mythological decor. But it gets deeper. Capri briefly became the seat of the Roman Empire under his rule, which means the island was flooded with fine art and grandeur. Some of it still waits beneath the waves. Over time, shifts in tides and rockfall may have buried even more treasures inside the cave's chambers. What's already been found is stunning, but odds are the grotto's real crown jewels are still hiding in the dark. Number 9. Minoan Tomb. A routine day for a farmer in Crete turned historic in 2018 when the ground beneath his parked truck caved in. What he thought was just a sinkhole ended up revealing a Minoan tomb untouched for 3,600 years. Dug straight into soft limestone, the tomb held 2 clay coffins, each with a male skeleton inside. Scattered around them were high-quality burial vases, the kind usually reserved for people of serious importance. Even more surprising, the tomb was still sealed. That's almost unheard of, considering how many Minoan graves were looted centuries ago. This one was perfectly hidden. For years, historians believed Minoans never ventured as far inland as this area of Asterousia, but this single site flipped that narrative. It's proof that people of influence lived and were buried here too. And thanks to a collapsing patch of dirt, we now have a better glimpse into who the Minoans really were and where they left their mark. Number 8. Venus de Milo. Everyone knows the Venus de Milo, a sculpture that's famous not just for its beauty, but for what it's missing. Found on the island of Melos in 1820 by a farmer and sold to the French Navy, the statue has lived at the Louvre ever since. It's believed to represent Aphrodite, though nobody knows exactly what the statue looked like with its arms intact. Legends spun wild tales of a fight between French and Turkish sailors during its excavation, blaming the missing limbs on a scuffle. But historians today don't buy it. They think the statue was already armless when it was found. Created over 2,000 years ago by Alexandros of Antioch, little else is known about the artist or his other works. It's possible the arms once held something symbolic, a mirror, an apple, maybe even a shield. But without evidence, it's all guesswork. What remains is a masterpiece caught in mystery, graceful, incomplete, and still one of the most iconic sculptures on Earth. Number 7. Marble Cross. high in the mountains near Skardu, Pakistan. A discovery in June 2020 left archaeologists stunned. A marble cross weighing 3 tons, carved more than 1,200 years ago. The sheer size of it, lodged on a remote slope, raised immediate questions about how it got there and who placed it. It's the largest of its kind ever found in South Asia, and its design matches the Acanthian style once common in early Christian India. Back then, Christianity had a foothold in parts of the region, long before other religions became dominant. The area surrounding the cross has no modern Christian population, and no known church remains nearby, which makes its location even more curious. Some scholars believe the site might have once held a hidden Christian settlement or sanctuary. Whether part of a larger structure or a lone symbol of faith in the hills, the cross is a silent reminder of a forgotten chapter, one carved into stone and left waiting to be rediscovered. Number 6. Ceramic duck vessel. Found in a Bronze Age grave near the Bulgarian town of Bale in 2020, a ceramic vessel shaped like a duck instantly stood out among the usual funerary fare. Belonging to the encrusted pottery culture, which thrived along the lower Danube over 3,000 years ago, this artifact wasn't just decorative, it was part of a cremation burial placed beside the ashes of the deceased. Civilizations across the ancient world loved their ceramics, but this group was next level with design and detail. The duck's stylized form, complete with a hollow body, may have once held personal items, perhaps even locks of hair or small keepsakes. Or maybe it was just symbolic, representing a journey to the afterlife. We don't know for sure. The artifact has no writing and no markings to decode its meaning. What it does have is charm and a quiet, enduring mystery, a delicate relic of someone's goodbye, shaped like a bird floating through time. Number 5. Burial busts. After a heavy storm in January 2019, a lady strolling through a cemetery in northern Israel spotted something strange poking out of the softened earth, the top of a stone head. A bit of curious digging revealed not one but 2 full burial busts. Experts soon confirmed they were 1,700 years old, tied to a rare funerary tradition seen only in 2 ancient cities, Sebast and Scythopolis, now modern-day Beit Shin. The busts were likely personal tributes made to resemble the dead, crafted with affection, but without the polish of master sculptors. What sets these apart isn't just the amateur touch, but the mystery they carry. Unlike other similar finds, these heads had no names, no inscriptions, just silent faces staring out from the soil. It's still unclear why this tradition flourished in only these 2 places, or why it vanished. But this small weather-worn pair reminds us how personal remembrance was long before written gravestones became the norm. Number 4. Tiny figurine. A dig in Olukak Mound, already a hotspot for ancient farming relics, delivered something new in August 2022, a tiny clay figurine that left archaeologists guessing. At roughly 7,800 years old, it's older than most written languages and small enough to fit in your palm, but its purpose, still a mystery. Some think it played a role in fertility rites or harvest ceremonies, while others suggest it might have been a magical token used during childbirth. What makes this discovery especially odd is how it was found, not tossed into a river or buried as an offering, as similar figures often are. This one was just there. Olukak was one of the earliest Neolithic settlements in the region, a place where farming took root and people stayed put for over 1,000 years. They built homes, raised families, and left traces of their everyday lives. And yet, even with all that history layered beneath the soil, this figurine stands out, a quiet puzzle waiting to be solved. Number 3. Moli del Salt Slab. Near Girona, Spain, archaeologists uncovered a 13,800-year-old engraved stone at the site of Moli del Salt. What looked like simple curved lines at first glance turned out to be something far more meaningful. The slab features 7 distinct semicircles, arranged in what many experts interpret as the layout of huts, possibly a campsite used by a Paleolithic hunter-gatherer group. If accurate, this would make it the oldest known map of human social structure in Europe. It's more than just an idle sketch, it shows intentional layout and spacing, hinting that these groups weren't just wandering aimlessly, but establishing planned, semi-permanent homes. It challenges the idea that early humans were strictly nomadic. Some believe it was drawn as a memory aid or a model for future campsites. Others think it was a record of an actual village that once stood nearby. Regardless of its exact purpose, it stands as a moment frozen in stone, a glimpse into the mind of someone thinking beyond survival, towards structure and design. Number 2. The Pictish blacksmith sets his handprint. Just look. In 2018, on the remote Scottish island of Rousay in Orkney, archaeologists uncovered a blackened stone anvil buried beneath layers of ash and soot. What made it extraordinary wasn't the tool itself, but what it recorded. Impressed into its surface were the marks of hands, knees, and feet belonging to a Pictish metalworker who used it some 1,500 years ago. It's the only known Pictish handprint in existence. These ancient people left no written records, and most of what we know about them comes from scraps, tools, carvings, and whispers in Roman chronicles. But this was personal. The prints weren't carved or drawn. They were baked into the stone by fire, pressure, and repetition. His underground forge would have been lit only by the glow of molten metal. Dangerous, claustrophobic, but efficient. And his work lives on not just through tools or artifacts, but through his literal touch. A palm pressed into stone, forgotten until now, is perhaps the most human reminder we'll ever get from a people long gone. Number 1. The Sunken vase. Inside a ruined Mayan palace in Belize, archaeologists found the shattered remains of an intricately decorated vase. Known now as the Sunken vase, its fragments were painstakingly reassembled, revealing an object that might offer a rare insight into the Mayan collapse. Etched along its surface are hieroglyphs telling of royal rituals, warfare, and strange dances, one involving a frog-like performance after military victories. The vase dates to the early 9th century, a critical period when Mayan civilization was unraveling. The writing suggests conflict between major city-states like Qumqum and Tikal, painting a picture of regional infighting, territorial raids, and shifting alliances. Only about 60% of the vase was recovered, but it's enough to imply that the collapse may have been less about sudden catastrophe and more about prolonged internal struggle. Combined with droughts and food shortages, political chaos may have been the final blow. This single, delicate object offers more than artwork, it offers a window into how a once mighty culture began to fracture from within. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.